everybody, and welcome once again to Real Shame, the Wednesday episode where we talk about our supplementary movie. And this show, in particular, we talk about movies on our list of movie blind spots. My name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
Last time we talked about Hitch,
We did.
starring Will Smith from 2005, and this time we're going to talk about
Sabrina. And we didn't get Hitched to Hitched, but we are going to talk to Sabrina.
let's do it.
All right. And we're talking about 1995 Sabrina.
Yes.
Let's get into it. All right. So Sabrina is a remake of the 50s Billy Wilder classic. It's directed by Sidney Pollack, and at this time it's written additionally by Barbara Bendick and Daniel Rayfile, I think it is. Again, Sabrina, remake of the 1950s that Billy Wilder did that starred Humphrey Bogart and Audrey Hepburn. Sabrina has pined after David her whole life, and it is only after spending some time abroad and getting a makeover that David starts to finally notice her. But there's one problem. David's engaged to get married to another woman. So Linus is trying to keep David and Sabrina apart. But Linus is also falling for Sabrina. And are they going to get together? We don't know. But that is the premise to 1995 Sabrina.
Well, if you've ever seen a movie like this before, you do know what's going to happen.
So Sabrina, I have never seen Sabrina before. Again, Kirby kind of recommended this to me. She has fondness of this movie, I think is an accurate thing to say. So I was excited to dive in and get to see Sabrina. Have you seen this version of Sabrina before? And
I've seen them both.
What are your thoughts on this movie?
Kirby, you better leave the room.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I did see this movie when it came out. I saw the remake first. I saw the 1995 version first, and then later on I saw the original Billy Wilder film, probably off of TCM, which is where I watched a lot of movies back in the day. Oh boy, I think I liked this movie a lot better when I saw it around 1995. This time, I thought it was dull and plodding, and I thought Julia Ormond, who plays Sabrina, is just weird. Yeah. I think she looks a lot. I don't know how. I think she was about 30 when she made this movie, but she plays really old in the movie to me, as opposed to Audrey Hepburn played that character in the 50s movie when she was young and bright and bushy-tailed or whatever. But Julia Ormond, and I also feel like Julia Ormond had some problems upstairs. Like I felt like she's just
the character.
I'm sorry, the character. I'm sorry, not Julia Ormond. I feel like Sabrina. Sabrina's got this weird infatuation with this guy.
It's unhealthy.
Since it's weird, and she's very spinsterish and odd. She goes away, like you said, to Paris to do like a magazine kind of internship, and then she comes back and she's magically transformed. She has shorter hair, and she's got better clothes or whatever. She doesn't dress like
she doesn't dress as like mousy or frumpy.
Yeah, she hides up in this tree and she spies on this rich family that she and her dad work for. Her dad's a chauffeur, and she does whatever and lives there. But she looks like she's 40 to me. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I didn't get that at all.
Julia Ormond is beautiful. Well, I don't know if it was the glasses or what, but she just looked older to me.
Watch
and
out,
I'm like,
people wear
why
glasses.
is this 40-year-old girl so infatuated still with this guy and still living at home with her dad? And still, it just was weird to me.
It was weird that she was the age she was in the movie and still living above the garage.
Yeah.
You know how old she is in the movie.
I mean, I think she's college age.
I think she's like 21, 22.
Yeah.
And
but you can't tell me she looks 21.
No, I think I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think it is a side effect of just terrible 90s fashion. I think it doesn't help. The haircut doesn't help, the high waist. Yeah. It's like
maybe.
I think that and also just the frumpy dumpy, like that dress, every 12-year-old girl had that dress where she's in the tree with the hair. I mean, so it's like I think it just doesn't help her look younger. But like,
no,
I don't think she looks
didn't.
over 30.
It didn't. Well, okay, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh there, but I just that immediately didn't work for me, like right off the bat. But then she goes away to Paris for, to me, what seemed like forever. I was like, is this movie ever going to start? Like, where's the part where she actually like starts to fall in love with Harrison Ford's character? That seemed to take a long time.
Did she ever fall in love with Harrison Ford's character?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
But yeah, I wrote down a younger they needed a younger actress, and she needed to have more pep. I feel like she is so cold in the movie, and it's just kind of monotone.
Yeah.
When she talks, David, I loved you. And she's just weird. Yeah. I would be like, ugh, get away from me. Like, she just is strange.
But David Larrabee's into that. He's into attention.
Yeah. Maybe so, but I don't want to have attention from this girl who's like, David, I've loved you my whole life. I would be scared of that. So yeah, it didn't work for me. I thought, Harrison Ford I thought was pretty good.
He was,
but overall I thought the movie was just kind of dull, long, and it made me yearn for the Billy Wilder version. Which I don't even remember thinking the Billy Wilder version was like amazing from what I recall, but I still wanted to watch that instead. Sorry, Kirby.
You want to talk about actors playing. Looking older. Like Humphrey Bogart was like 60 when he played.
Yeah, he was
a lot older.
He died before he was 60, so he was not 60.
Okay, well,
he was in his 50s.
He was in his 50s. Yeah, he was in his 50s. He was in his 50s.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I have not seen the original Sabrina. Mm-hmm. And ultimately I think I would have probably liked it better than this movie, because I don't like this movie. I don't agree with the premise of the movie, so I don't know where to kind of begin with that thing. I don't. Her dad. So spoiler alert for this movie, but like we said earlier, we'll spoil movies that are old and that we review. Her dad's basically saved up $2 million, but he still has her live with them. So why didn't he give her the money before she went to Paris and all that kind of stuff? Why they save that for the last act? Why is she living with them? Harrison Ford looks to be her father. It is like a weird relationship that he looks so much older and so much mature for her. And I don't understand why he wants to fall in love with her. Like, I don't see any redeeming features in her other than her attractiveness for him to like and to latch onto and all that kind of stuff. So I just everything just felt so far-fetched. And I think, you used the term plotting. And to me, it did feel that way. It felt like the movie and the people were doing things because the script told them to do things. Nothing ever seemed to be character-driven or driven by the character's wants and needs. It just felt like this is what the 1950s version of this did. So this is what we're doing for this one. And I don't get it. I don't ever believe that David would date anyone of her stature, like economic wise, I don't think he would ever date someone who was, help or whatever you would call it, or a daughter of someone that there. I just don't do it. I just don't see that ever happening with this character and stuff like that. So like ultimately, I just I don't know. I just don't agree with the whole movie on the whole. So nothing it did kind of work for me, because I'm just like, the whole time I'm like, I don't see this as being a realistic movie, or I don't see this even being real in the world they kind of set. So I was just kind of like over it, And the fact that he would fall in love with this heiress one day of the Tyson Electronics company, and then, want to cheat on her and stuff like that the next day, like that stuff wasn't really set up. It was just the way it was, we kind of get told that and stuff like that. And, that the fact that Linus, knowing his brother David, would entertain the idea that this marriage would work out, because the whole premise is that he wants to prevent him from cheating on her to break up the potential pairing and the potential merger. But if he knew that, he wouldn't have pushed for them to get married, because if it's not Sabrina, it's going to be some other chick. Or what happens when they're married and stuff like that. Well,
this is the first, Lauren Holly's the first girl that like this that he's dated. That's all. He has this string of models and just pretty faces. And listen, he ain't looking to date Sabrina. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not on the same page with you as far as that stuff. I do believe that David would cheat on whoever. Yeah. It doesn't matter because he's just a philanderer.
I think he would cheat on whoever, but I don't think he would cheat.
I don't think he wants to date Sabrina at all. I think he wants to date her just like he dates anything with two legs, pretty much, because he's just a horn dog. So, I mean, I bought that. And I bought Harrison Ford finally, kind of opening his heart and warming up.
I didn't get that at all.
But he's still, I felt like right up at the end, he's still just like, yeah, well, she's going away and everything. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly he's like, okay, I guess I'm going too, or whatever. It seemed abrupt to me.
Yeah, because he never, I agree. I don't ever saw the reason why he liked her or any reason why he opened up to her. And it did feel like when it was a shock to me when he's like, I guess I'm going to go to Paris. Because I'm like, why is he going to Paris? Because he doesn't like her.
Well,
I wasn't getting that at all.
I felt like he did like her, but 10 minutes before that, he was like, forget her. So if you could forget her that easily, but then suddenly 10 minutes later be like, all right, I'll go.
He had to get out of his own way, which is why he did, with Hitch. He had to get out of his own way because she got out of her own, like, oh my gosh, I'm this, like, wimpy little girl who's like lived over the garage and I've just fantasized about this guy. It's like she became like her own person, and so Linus has been done work, lived in the shadow of his brother.
Workaholic.
He got out of the way to like go, oh my gosh, like it's okay for me to go to Paris because he said he's done the right thing. He got his haircut where his dad got his haircut. He's always done that, and he's breaking it by going to Paris.
I wish
romance, guys.
I know, but I wish Harrison Ford would have melted better, or if it would have shown more, maybe. But because he's still, even though some of the things he said, you get the feeling that he is falling for her. His heart is kind of melting. He still externally just looks, and maybe that's just business. Maybe that's his business face. So maybe I'm not looking at it the right way. But it wasn't there for me. And
like even when he goes to Paris to see her, I don't think he smiled when he saw her. Like you would think like he would be happy, like he would lose the facade of his seriousness and warm up. But I think even when he was standing outside, he was like, it was like, do you want to invite me in or some stupid he said. I was like, oh, okay.
I think he was trying to play a Bogart, in my opinion. I think that was a character choice, kind of like, I'm going to do that a little bit.
I feel like, because you said Harrison Ford looks like really old, or looks. I actually think Harrison Ford looks pretty good in this movie.
No, he looks great, but he looks way too old for her.
He was in his early 50s. I just think the big problem for me in the movie is her. I feel like she looks too old, and too old to be living with her dad. And you mentioned her dad has amassed $2 million. And at the end, he's like, your mother would want you to have it.
Yeah.
But wasn't she was already going to Paris to be set up in an apartment that they had set up for her with a bank account.
Yeah.
So why does she need the money?
Well, are you talking about the second time? That was the second time.
But he didn't earn the $2 million since she's been back from Paris.
But I think that the thing
I think he had it before.
I think he was, he said he's been amassing it since he's been driving them because he's been hearing like their stock tips and stuff. But
insider trading.
That's what Adam said when he heard it. But I think the thing is like he wanted her to go have this life experience before I'm like, oh, hey, here's all this money. It's like, hey, leave the nest.
He should have said that.
See what's up. But the Larrabee set the whole thing up. They set up the job and the apartment.
But her dad should have said that to her, and then the audience, that we understood why he did that. Because to me, thinking about hindsight, is like the dad was just going to sit on the money himself, and like she was either going to get it when he kicked the bucket or something, because it seemed like he wasn't ready to part with it until she had this heartbreak thing when she came back.
No, because she grew up. That's the whole point. She grew up.
Or maybe he wanted to get rid of it because he offered to marry that one lady that was working there. And he's like, man, I just don't want to have all this money for her to have.
I'm not going to be picking any movies, am I?
No. Not that. But yeah, I like I said, I just was frustrated with the whole movie, and it didn't work for me like on a storytelling level. The characters didn't speak to me and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I just was kind of like, I just was sitting through it,
Yeah, I just thought overall it was dull.
So,
and I do think I liked it more in 1995.
Yeah,
I remember liking it more. We'll talk about the rest of the cast.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So Lauren Holly, as you mentioned, plays David's future bride.
Yep.
And I
think
haven't seen her in a long time.
Elizabeth Tyson or something like that.
I know Lauren Holly's still acting, but I haven't seen her in a long time. Greg Kinnear at this point was really only known for Talk Soup. If you ever watched Talk Soup, he was the original host.
He looked like David
Soup.
Hyde Pierce a lot to me in this movie.
Well, this was only his. So he had done some TV stuff. He was the first host of Talk Soup from I think 91 to 95 or 94, 95. His first theatrical movie was Blank Man with Damon Wayans.
Oh,
yeah,
I remember that.
Classic. And then his second film actually was Sabrina. So he was a relative newcomer to the big screen. I think he does a good job. I think he plays the kind of playboy, philanderer kind of guy to a T. He's good. Lauren Holly's parents are Angie Dickinson. Always nice to see her. And Colonel Troutman, Richard Crenna, who we've seen so far on the show. We've seen in Body Heat.
Oh, yep.
Plays Kathleen Turner's ill-fated husband. This movie also has a very brief scene with esteemed character actress Margot Martindale.
I pointed that out.
you always have to say it like that because that's how it was said on BoJack Horseman.
Yep.
And then when she goes to Paris, the lady that she's with is Fanny Ardant, who's a famous French actress. She's in the Paris portions. The mother of Linus and David is the mother of Tony Soprano, Livia Soprano, Nancy Marchand. Who honestly I don't think I've ever seen her in anything besides The Sopranos, so I only know her as cranky Livia Soprano, and I thought she's pretty funny in this. Like she has some good comedic lines.
I don't remember anything about
I thought she was funny. Well, again, I'm so used to seeing her as Tony Soprano's mom. I thought she was actually pretty funny in this.
Adam did not like her gowns. You made that comment.
You didn't like her gowns.
Who wears that?
Sounds like.
And then finally, one of the other people that work at the house is Paul Giamatti.
Yep. Yeah, Paul
He's in a very small role. He doesn't hardly have any lines. I guess he was a relative unknown.
John Adams himself, Paul
Giamatti.
Giamatti.
Mr. Paul Giamatti. What's that?
He
looks the same. Yeah.
He's aged well.
But anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just, like I said, I think I kind of explained where I was with the movie.
Okay. So before we get into the viewer question, Rotten Tomatoes, this is fresh. It's 65% fresh. The audience score is 64% fresh. I couldn't find what Siskel and Ebert both thought about it, because I couldn't find the clip of where they reviewed it on the show. But Ebert did give it thumbs up because he gave it 3.5 stars. Malton.
There's like a cutoff for what's a thumbs up and what's not a thumbs up.
Yeah, well, typically it would be anything. Sometimes 2.5. 2.5 could be down or up, I think. But it's as long as it's 3 or above, it's going to be thumbs up.
Gotcha.
Leonard Maltin gave it 3 stars. And just for comparison's sake, the Billy Wilder original Sabrina film is 92% fresh, 89% audience score. I couldn't find a Siskel or Ebert review of that in print, and then Maltin gives that one 3.5 stars. So that's how they feel.
Kirby, how do you feel about the movie?
I don't think I will be welcomed back to make a suggestion.
Oh, come on.
I'm
yeah,
joking.
you will.
No,
we all choose stinkers from now, every time.
I like this movie, and I just wish you guys would be a little bit more romantic and open to it.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's a dull romantic comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like plenty of romantic comedies. I just don't like this one. Sorry.
On to our viewer question. All right. So if you have a question you want us to answer on air, shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com, like this viewer did. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about movies that we saw on our list of shame that we liked. We ranked those in the top 5 movies. So looking forward to us looking on our list, the question is, what movies are on your list that you're looking forward to watching for the show and for the podcast? So a little meta commentary is I don't envy Andy in this position because I have a lot to choose from and you have a less. But I'm going to punt that over to you and say, what movie or movies are you looking forward to on your list?
I mean, I think, ever since we started the show and when, we talked about doing the show, we obviously knew that there was a lot of kind of classic film gaps in yours, not so many in mine, although there's definitely some that I have not seen, but we still thought it was a good opportunity for me to see kind of more popular movies, maybe not classics or whatever, but still Bridesmaids or Independence Day or Hitch or all the Will Smith movies that I missed out on. So I mean, I still feel like I have a plethora of movies to choose from. I was kind of scanning the list. There's I guess, sort of modern day classics, or again, I'm using the term classic loosely because I've not seen these movies, so I don't know. But some people consider them classics, like An Officer and a Gentleman from the '80s is one that I've never gotten around to seeing, or Diner, Barry Levinson's Diner, stuff like that. But the movie I think that as I was scanning through that stood out the most to me is just because I'm a big fan of this director, and this is probably the only film I have not seen of his, and that's Inherent Vice, which is a Paul Thomas Anderson film. I love Boogie Nights and The Master and some of his other movies, and even the movies of his that I don't necessarily or I'm not necessarily over the moon about. I can still appreciate them for what they are. But yeah, I think I'm excited to watch Inherent Vice, and as an extra to that, I also still need to watch like the Mummy stuff, the Brendan Fraser Mummy series. So I'm definitely excited to watch some of those kinds of movies. I mean, I think I've definitely seen bits and pieces of those, but I still don't think I've ever watched any of those all the way through. So I cheated and gave two kind of different answers.
No, I like that. Like you said, I have a lot of the classics on my list. So a lot of those I'm really excited to see. You know, the Godfather series, which you hear a lot about, I'm excited to see. You know, Citizen Kane, which sometimes gets put at the number one, you know, ranking of best movies of all time on the list. Is something I like to see. I think mine boils down to there's a lot of Hitchcock in my blind spots, and I like the movies I've seen of Hitchcock. I just haven't really spent a lot of time with Hitchcock. So I think the movie I'm the most excited to see from my list is Vertigo.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which is a Hitchcock thriller. I just can't. I like thrillers, and like I said, I like Hitchcock. I just haven't got around to seeing it. So that's the movie I think of all the movies on the list, I'm the one most excited to see.
I think that's a good choice. I mean, definitely when it comes to Alfred Hitchcock, there's no shortage of really great or classic movies. A lot of people love Vertigo, think it's his best movie. Psycho's his best movie. Rear Window's his best movie. I mean, he definitely has a lot of stuff, and yeah, that's a very cool choice.
All right.
Cool stuff.
Kirby, is there a movie that you know off the top of your head?
On yours?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for you to see Citizen Kane. I mean, just mainly because I feel like it's like a film person's rite of passage to kind of sit through it. But I mean, It's a Wonderful Life. I like that you saw Singing in the Rain. We kind of
Very
and
cool.
I can't wait for Andy to see The Mummy because I know we both love that.
Yeah, we love The Mummy. Mummy is like Pirates of the Caribbean for me, so little tease for you guys. All right. Those are the movies we're looking forward to most from our list of shame. If there's a movie that you haven't seen that you're dying to see, put it in the comments below or shoot us an email. Let us know. You know, maybe it's a movie that's on one of our lists, and maybe we can all watch it together. Who knows?
Hey,
it'd be very cool. So shoot us. Also, if you have a question you want us to answer on air, like this viewer did, shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. Follow us on social media @realshame. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff that everyone asks you to do, because it does actually help spread the news and spread the word. And, you know, if you like the show, you know, let people know that you like the show. And stay tuned next time as we take another movie and we cross it, hopefully, off our list of shame. And we'll see you next time, guys.